Urgent, Day Bears fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest your team news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Chicago Bears reportedly planning a change at quarterback GM. Ryan Poles doesn't have to worry about finding a starting quarterback. Caleb Williams looks like the guy the Chicago Bears have waited for. Ben Johnson and his coaching staff should be able to get more out of him moving forward. However, that doesn't mean the team plans to stay idle at the position. There has been plenty of criticism of the organization for not bringing in a veteran presence to help Williams last year when it was clear he needed some guidance. Tyson Bagent is a quality backup, but he couldn't offer any advice due to minimal experience. It appears Poles and Johnson plan to rectify that. Adam Hoge asked the GM about it on the Hoge Johns podcast. Poles admitted the team is planning to make a move in the near future. It depends on finding the right fit for what the team is looking for. Johnson has direct ties to Teddy Bridgewater, who is available after spending last season in Detroit. Joe Flacco remains a dependable backup, even at 40 years old. Case Keenum has already proven a worthwhile option in years past. The Justin Fields issue may have influenced the Chicago Bears' decision. Reports surfaced not long ago that the former first-round pick developed a contentious relationship with veterans Nick Foles and Andy Dalton during his rookie season in 2021. He didn't feel he needed help and only saw them as obstacles to becoming a starter. The Chicago Bears likely wanted to avoid a similar incident with Williams, which is why they opted to start him immediately and kept Bagent as the backup. After watching last season, they can't afford to let egos get involved. It must be about what is best for the team. A veteran QB can be a great sounding board for Williams as he continues to navigate the challenges of playing in the NFL. Bagent isn't an automatic cut, mind you. This is more about infusing the position with much-needed experience. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest The Monsters of the Midway news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Chicago Bears sign a veteran WR and DB to one-year deals. The Chicago Bears have signed two veteran players, Miles Boykin and Shaun Wade, to one-year contracts. The team announced the transactions on Thursday afternoon. Bears sign Miles Boykin. Boykin returns home by signing with the Bears, where he was a Tinley Park native. In the NFL, Boykin played in 73 career games, played with 25 starts in stints with the Baltimore Ravens and Pittsburgh Steelers. Most recently, he spent portions of last season on the New York Giants and Seattle Seahawks practice squads. Across his career, Boykin has caught 38 passes for 498 yards and 7 touchdowns. He's also been active on special teams, totaling 17 special teams tackles. Boykin was a third-round selection in the 2019 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Ravens, after playing college football at Notre Dame, helping the Irish to their first-ever berth in the college football playoff. Bears add Shaun Wade. Wade comes to the Bears after spending the 2024 season on the Los Angeles Chargers practice squad. An Ohio State product, Wade has appeared in 20 career games with 6 career starts. All of his appearances came with the New England Patriots. Wade was a fifth-round selection in the 2021 NFL Draft by the Baltimore Ravens after a stellar college career with Ohio State, where he was a consensus All-American in 2020 and received Big Ten Conference Defensive Back of the Year honors. Bears positional spending. Linemen the focus of new-look Chicago offense. How are the NFC North teams spending their money on offense? We break down the Bears' spend and their cohorts. The Chicago Bears are undergoing one of the most dramatic changes of any team in the NFL in 2025. After 3 years of continued struggles under Matt Eberflus, the team finally moved on during the 2024 season. Now the team has new leadership under the top coaching candidate of the cycle, in former Detroit Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, a #1 overall pick entering his second season at quarterback, and a lot of salary cap to spend on improving the roster. While Caleb Williams fell a bit below expectations in his rookie season, it's fair to say that the entire offense and coaching staff was problematic. There were a ton of roster holes that needed patching heading into 2025, and the Bears were proactive in addressing them with veterans. The biggest area of need was the offensive line, and Chicago traded multiple picks and spent a fortune in acquiring 3 new starters. Now that the dust has mostly settled on NFL free agency, this is a great opportunity to take a closer look at how the Bears have elected to spend their money. given that Williams is on a relatively affordable rookie contract for the next 3 seasons. Chicago has a lot of cash and salary cap space to throw around to improve the roster around their young quarterback. A quick note on the following information: it's important to note the difference between salary cap spending and cash spending. Salary cap spending is money spent that specifically counts towards the NFL's salary cap, which is set by the league every season. Teams cannot go above the salary cap under any circumstances, and the NFL takes this very seriously. Cash spending, on the other hand, is the actual money paid out by teams in a given season. If cash spending is high and cap spending is low, it typically means that much of a contract's money has been deferred to the future. Conversely, high cap spending and low cash spending is often associated with contracts becoming cheaper over time or a team paying off dead money from previous moves. How much are the Bears spending on offense? Let's start with the offense and compare the Bears roster construction with their NFC North rivals for context. Bears total offensive spending salary. Cap spending 23rd of 32, 50. 78 of team total cash spending, 20th of 32 NFC. North comparison: cap cash Vikings 25th, 6th, Lions 14th, 17th, Packers 31st under 31st. Despite the massive money spent on the offense this offseason, the Bears are still fielding a relatively cheap offense overall in 2025. A lot of this has to do with having a quarterback on a rookie contract, more on that below, but the Bears aren't really spending elite money anywhere other than the offensive line. The cash expenditure is slightly higher, suggesting this side of the ball will become more expensive as time goes on, but not massively so. In comparison to the other NFC North teams, the Bears are currently second in offensive salary cap spending and third in cash spending. The Lions are spending the most, unsurprisingly, while the Packers are fielding one of the cheapest offenses in the league, 31st in cash and cap spending. The Vikings are near the bottom of the league in cap spending, but are a whopping 6th in cash spending. That offense will become significantly pricier as time goes on, as many of the cap hits are deferred. Bears quarterback spending salary cap spending 29th of 32, 3, 9 cash spending 30th of 32 NFC North comparison cap cash Vikings, 28th, 32nd, Lions 15th, 119th, Packers 17th, 31st. The crux of the Bears' affordable offense is having a rookie quarterback contract. Given Caleb Williams' status as the number 1 overall pick, he's not quite as affordable as J.J. McCarthy. Williams' cap hit is $897 million in 2025 versus $496 million for McCarthy, but both are incredibly cheap in the context of NFL quarterbacks. Having Williams at this low number for the next few years will be a critical competitive window for Chicago. The Bears actually have the cheapest QB room salary cap-wise in 2025, thanks to the Vikings owing Sam Darnold $5 million in dead cap. Minnesota has the cheapest QB room in the league in terms of cash spending. The Lions, unsurprisingly, have the most expensive QB room in the NFC North, with the Packers close behind. Bears running back spending salary cap spending, 10th of 32, 4. 69 cash spending, 7th of 32 NFC North comparison cap cash Vikings, 20th, 3rd, Lions 5th, 11th, Packers 6th, 9th. One area the Bears have invested in is the running back room, where the team is spending top 10 money on the position both in cap and cash. This is almost entirely going to DeAndre Swift, who carries a $9.3 million cap hit in 2025. Swift did manage nearly 1,000 rushing yards last season, but only at a clip of 3, 8 YPC. Hopefully he can improve behind an upgraded offensive line. The entire NFC North is also spending a lot of money at running back, and the Bears are actually just 3rd in cap and 2nd in cap spending. Detroit is the most expensive in terms of the cap, but is actually last in cash. The Packers are 2nd in cap and 3rd in cash, and the Vikings feature the biggest difference, last by far in cap spending, but 1st in the division and 3rd in the NFL. In cash spending, Bears wide receiver spending salary cap spending 14th of 32, 13, 36 cash spending 17th of 32 NFC North comparison cap cash Vikings, 23rd, 10th, Lions 18th, 15th, Packers 31st, 31st. The Bears spent a ton on the wide receiver room in 2024, both in terms of cash and draft capital. That's a bit different in 2025, as it's just DJ Moore, 24, $9 million cap hit, making big money this season. Rome Odunze, 5, $16 million is the only other receiver with a significant cap hit this season. That helps even out the costs of this room, which were much higher last year. We'll see if this is a room that the Bears want to continue to add pieces to in the draft. Chicago actually features the most expensive wide receiver room in terms of cap, although their cash spending is significantly lower at third. The Lions are next in cap spending, followed by the Vikings. Both of these teams are spending more cash, however, with the Vikings all the way up at 10th in the league. Noticing a pattern in Minnesota? The Packers feature one of the cheapest receiver rooms in the NFL, sitting just a hair above the Los Angeles Chargers. Bears tight end spending salary cap spending 11th of 32.6. 41 cash spending 14th of 32 NFC North comparison. Cap cash Vikings 4th, 5th. Lions 28th, 23rd. Packers 30th, 31st. The Bears have a good tight end in Cole Kmet, and he's being paid accordingly 11. $6 million cap hit. Chicago is also paying a decent salary to TE2 Durham Smythe too. $5 million, which leads to a fairly expensive tight end room overall. This has been an important position for Ben Johnson in Detroit, so I'm not surprised to see above average spending here. Meanwhile, the Vikings lead the way in the NFC North in tight end spending in both cap 4th and cash 5th, and have one of the most expensive rooms in the NFL. The Bears are second in both metrics, with the Lions 3rd and Packers 4th spending a minimal amount on the position in 2025. Bears offensive line spending salary cap spending 8th of 32.22. 9 cash spending 3rd of 32 NFC North comparison. Cap cash Vikings 6th, 1st. Lions 9th, 8th. Packers 25th, 114th. The biggest area of emphasis for the Bears this offseason, other than the coaching staff, was the offensive line, where Chicago traded picks for Jonah Jackson 10, $5 million, and Joe Thuney $16 million, and gave a massive contract to Drew Dalman, 13, $6 million. That's a ton of money spent on the interior offensive line, which was a huge problem area last season. It also gives the Bears one of the most expensive offensive lines in the NFL. However, with Caleb Williams on a rookie contract, I think it makes a ton of sense to spend the excess money not taken up by a quarterback contract to build a wall in front of the young signal caller. Offensive line spending is very popular in the NFC North, as 3 of the teams are in the top 10 in the NFL. The Vikings feature the most expensive offensive line, and it's going to get a lot more expensive going forward. Chicago takes over the second place spot from the Lions, who are just behind them in third place. The Packers once again bring up the rear, as Green Bay has very little cap and cash invested in their offense heading into 2025. And now, da Bears. Fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Da Bears. He'll be back any moment with more. The monsters of the Midway News.